Whenever there's conversations being had about who runs everything, there's a few names that pop up. One of them is BlackRock. So today we're going to check out the conspiracy theories surrounding BlackRock. Let's go.
BlackRock is an organization, it's a company publicly listed on NASDAQ that has tens of trillions of dollars of assets under management. They disclose that they have like 14 trillion, but that is only BlackRock. Then they own majority share in most of the companies in America, right? So they also have money and funneled through all those things as well. But what companies? They own Pfizer, they own Moderna, they own all the airlines, they own all the social networks. When you see all this stuff, all this agenda, everybody working together, then you have to realize who actually owns it. This isn't a conspiracy. You go to Yahoo Finance, you go to top holders of all these shareholding companies, and you see BlackRock and Vanguard at the top.
That much control behind some of the biggest companies, man. You don't think things be happening, or they have their way of controlling what happens, or have a say-so in what happens? It gets deeper. Let's keep going.
This BlackRock employee may have just exposed the entire organization.
It's not through who's the president, it's who's controlling the wallet. So it's the,
and who's that?
The hedge fund.
Bro just said it's controlling the wallet of the president. No, let's keep going.
BlackRock, the banks, these guys are campaign financing. Yep, you can buy your candidates.
How so?
All of these financial institutions, they buy politicians.
How do they run the world?
You acquire stuff. You diversify, you acquire, you keep acquiring, you spend whatever you make in acquiring more. And at a certain point, your risk level is super low.
So he's being interviewed by a girl he believes he's actually on a date with from OMG Group. And she just got him to admit that he believes BlackRock isn't only paying out politicians, that they control the president himself.
Imagine you've invested in, 10...
This is why you can't trust anybody no more, man. And people claim they want to just interview you about you, want to highlight your life and everything like that. No, it's an ulterior motive there, man. Y'all be careful.
Imagine you've invested in 10 different industries, from food to drinks to technology, right? One of them fails, it doesn't matter. You have 9 others to back you up. Risk management is inherently in just about everything, and in the finance space, it's all about it's all about the money you make. You don't let it sit. You keep using it over and over, and
Reinvest.
And it exponential growth.
And then once you just own a little bit of everything, is that where the control?
Yeah, you own a little bit of everything, and that little bit of everything gives you so much money on a yearly basis that you can take this big ton of money, and then you can start to buy people. And obviously we have...
See, I feel bad for this guy because he is 100% getting fired, or at least let me know what you think is going to happen to him after BlackRock sees this video. But it's crazy that he's confirming what everybody already speculates. BlackRock owns and controls everything.
The system in place. First, there's this.
Ain't no getting fired. I guarantee he doesn't work there anymore. And then I wouldn't be surprised if they didn't have a hand in just getting that information on tape, hiring her or using her or manipulating her to do the interview for them meaning BlackRock, to get him to say that stuff so they can let him go or fire him. Or we need to make sure he's okay. We need to do a wellness check on him, seriously. But I wouldn't be surprised if they wasn't behind that as well.
Senate. And these guys are rich. You got 10 grand, you can buy a senator. It doesn't matter who wins.
They're still going.
They're in my pocket. I can give you $500K right now, no questions asked.
Yeah.
I'm gonna do what needs to be done. They'd be like, yeah, of course.
And
why not?
does everybody do that? Does BlackRock do that? Any thoughts on the Ukraine-Russia war?
Ukraine is good for business. You know, right? We don't want the conflict to end.
Why?
We don't want the conflict to end as a country. The longer this goes on, the weaker Russia is. I'll give an example. Russia blows up Ukraine's grain silos. Price of wheat's gonna go mad up. So what are you gonna do if you're a trading firm? The moment that news hits, within a millisecond, you're gonna pump trades into into whoever the wheat suppliers are, into their stocks. Within an hour or two, that stock goes up, and then you sell, and you just made.
Now this 100% happens. In fact, BlackRock and JP Morgan just bought Ukraine and pretty much are re-advising all of their debt, which means they practically control all of their assets. At the same time, as Ukraine gets destroyed, BlackRock is saying, hey, we're going to help you rebuild. We're going to invest in your country. But they own the companies like Raytheon that are selling this equipment and profiting off the war already. They're just double dipping their toes, pumping stocks and controlling and manipulating the market, for example, the wheat market, just like he's saying. So the only question left here is, do you believe that this video is real?
Listen, I was just having a conversation about that. You know, a lot of people in my family knows I'm into the stock market. I try to pay attention as much as I can. I do day trading, swing trading, and all that type of stuff like that. You know what I mean? So I try to keep an eye on what's going on and pay attention, and understanding what's going on overseas and Russia, Ukraine, Israel, all that type of stuff like that. Biden pledging to send, what was that, $100 billion or something like that. So for me, I sat back and I was like, okay, if we're sending equipment, then places, things like chip companies, because you have chips and all of this equipment that we're sending over and stuff like that, though they may take a massive hit down, they're gonna come back up. That stuff has to be replaced. You know what I mean? That's how a lot of these companies do, bro. They understand. And some of them, unfortunately, because some people don't believe this thing or this market is manipulated, some of this stuff is orchestrated so they can buy the dip, because it's gonna go down when we send or we do different things like that. As soon as it does, they hop in, buy, goes up, they're out, and they've just made a ton of money. Yeah, man, unplug yourself out the matrix. This stuff is how things are, man, and it's sad to hear it that way, but you don't keep hearing things about stuff and it don't have some truth to it. Understand that. You know what I mean? Now, this dude here, I don't understand. Like, how did you not pick up on what this type of interview could do to you, unless he was just fed up, didn't care of the ramifications or the consequences, and just wanted to get this information out to the people? If that was the case, then I respect it. You know what I mean? But just some random woman asking all these kind of questions, I'd have been very, very skeptical of that. You know what I mean? Like, she ain't even blur his face out. Nothing, you know what I mean? Like I said, hope they did a wellness check, or we need to do a wellness check on this dude. He exposed a lot, but he exposed a lot of stuff that we've already known or been thinking.
So people have this idea that Larry Fink has a great deal of power and is able to force companies
well, Larry does have a lot of power, but he's not going into the company and saying, make this change or I'm going to dump your stock.
He can't do that. It wouldn't make sense.
First of all, he'd be violating his fiduciary responsibility as the chairman, CEO of this fund. Power often is perceived ability to influence situations. And he is certainly in a position to influence companies. But he's not going in and saying, change your diversity policy to an individual company. 10% of their fund might be around decisions they're making on investments. And inside of there, they'll probably set up a fund that's a DEI fund. They'll say, this is what this fund does. And if this fund's going to invest in your company, you need to hit this criteria and you need to hit, do these things. It's not like they're going into individual companies and saying, change this stuff.
Right.
Oh, yeah. No, can't do like you said, that'd be a violation of his fiduciary responsibility. Like, no, he it's not going down like that. But when you have that type of influence, I'm pretty sure there are subtle ways that they do things to be able to make it to where certain things lean in their favor or the way they want things to go. You know what I mean? That stuff, yeah. They're not just coming out and saying, no, we don't like that. BlackRock doesn't like that. We don't stand behind that. We don't support that. No. But they have their methods, though, I would believe, allegedly, potentially.
Company and Larry Fink hold such power. Why is it that you have not heard of them more? There is power in anonymity. If BlackRock is barely featured in print publications and news channels, it is because they want it to be so. If they wanted, they could feature every day. BlackRock currently owns 18% of Fox, 16% of CBS, and 13% of Comcast, which in turn owns NBC, MSNBC, and Sky. If any of those companies wanted to make a decision, they would have to also consult with BlackRock before doing so. The same is true for Google, a tech giant currently worth $853 billion. Amazon, Facebook, and Twitter are also not exempt, and neither is Disney. Thanks to their incredibly diverse investment portfolio in media alone, BlackRock essentially owns 90% of the world's media. If you don't know about them, it's because they don't want you to. Why? Owning a portion...
I like what they said, is power in anonymity. Power in that. We don't have to say nothing. We just sit back, cross our hands, lean back, because we don't have to. They got to come to us. They got to come to us.
Portion of the world doesn't come without its share of scandal or conflict. In 2020, BlackRock became the first foreign company to be allowed into China's mutual fund industry, which means they can now invest and own parts of Chinese companies, including ones that are blacklisted by the United States. One of the first investments made by BlackRock was in Hikvision, a security and communications firm that essentially makes facial recognition software for use by the Chinese government. But this money isn't just BlackRock's or Larry Fink's. It comes from pension funds and bank accounts of ordinary civilians who have unknowingly given money to BlackRock in the past. If we take into account BlackRock's ownership over Western media, banks, e-commerce stores, social media, food and beverages, and many, many more industries, it becomes evident that the company has a wealth of data on us. They may do with it what they please. TikTok's data harvesting pales in comparison to what BlackRock is capable of, given how they have everything from our bank account numbers to our personal tastes and preferences. As BlackRock's investment in China grows, so will China's influence on the world. And our personal data, which was hanging on a thread to begin with, will quickly end up in the wrong hands. With the trajectory BlackRock has been on, it seems their influence will only grow as they acquire more and more of the world to control. If such is the case, we are headed into a dystopian world where corporations have more power than governments.
What? What? Yeah. I had to pull that, make that plug out, unplug myself out of the matrix, man. I had to pull it out of the back of my neck, man. It's allowing me to see things for potentially what they really are, man. Anytime I've ever said no, or questioned something, or thought about the way things are being ran, or why it's being ran that way, or how could they allow this to happen, and sometimes you gotta figure out, it's not the people in the front, the faces. No, it's the ones that's pulling the strings in the back. It's them. Sometimes you have to pay attention to the ones, like he said, again, the most powerful thing said in this video, the power in anonymity. What all do we know other than what I feel like they want us to know? That these are the companies they own and have control of. So you know who the real powerhouse is.
Two companies control the world, and yet you don't know who they are. When we think of the most powerful companies in the world, we often think of Apple, Google, or Amazon. However, these companies are small potatoes compared to the two behemoths that are BlackRock and Vanguard. BlackRock and Vanguard are the two most powerful investment funds in the world, with over 15 trillion in assets under management, or roughly 5 times the GDP of France. So how do these two companies control the world? It's simple. Vanguard and BlackRock own shares in all the world's most powerful companies. They are the largest shareholders in Google, Apple, Facebook, Amazon, and Microsoft. They are veritable financial monsters. The two of them own absolutely everything in pharmaceuticals, transport, banking, and the media. It's simple. Every time you do something, you make BlackRock and Vanguard richer. Look at TF1, you make Vanguard richer. You go on Instagram, you make BlackRock richer. You buy an iPhone, you make Vanguard richer. And the terrifying thing is that when you make Vanguard richer, you also make BlackRock richer, because the two companies are each other's largest shareholders.
I want to look into, because I've already looked into the Rothschilds. I've heard tons of different stories about the Rothschilds. I think I want to look into the Vanguard next. With us looking into BlackRock now, that's another name thrown around that I want to look into. Vanguard. Got to check that out.
So a BlackRock recruiter got caught on secret camera exposing all of BlackRock's top secrets. And spoiler alert, we already knew.
They don't want to be in the news. They don't want people to talk about them. They don't want to be anywhere on the radar.
Roger that. We won't talk about them anymore.
Don't normal people worry about this stuff?
No, normal people don't give a shit. This is beyond them.
I don't know, man. Going on 650,000 people do give a shit, and it's not beyond them. Oh, but check this nugget out that we already covered.
Larry Fink recently sold $100 million worth of BlackRock.
Wow. Larry, that's not a good sign.
Larry? We stumbled across that by accident just a week ago. The reporter knew that Larry Fink had recently sold $100 million worth of BlackRock stock. Maybe she follows the channel, baby. What's up, reporter lady? And the guy talks about how they buy politicians and like endless war because they profit off of it. He says a lot of things. I don't know, it kind of just sounds like some boy trying to impress a cute girl to me, but it sure doesn't hurt the case we're building around here. So I think it originally broke on Twitter. You can look up James O'Keefe on Twitter. I'm sure you can find it there. If you want to know more about how BlackRock's running the world, you've come to the right channel.
So why are these guys doing what they're doing? You have all the money in the world. You live in a $100 million house. Not you, Larry Fink and some of these guys. I don't know if he lives in a $100 million house, but you got the money to live in a $100 million. What else do you need? Right. You got nice cars. Jamie Dimon's got a $900 million art collection, according to an article. It's a nice art.
900 million. I ain't trying to count nobody else's pockets, man. I'm not trying to do that. But 900 million art collections? Sheesh.
Art collection, right? You go to all the nice restaurants, you meet prime ministers, you meet presidents, and then maybe there comes a time when you're looking at a couple of these guys, they're presidents and prime ministers, and you tell yourself, I'd be a better president than you, bro. How the hell am I not reading the country? Or they tell themselves, you think you're a president? You're not a president, you work for me.
Holy. Like, and we see it in movies, man, when that type of stuff happens. But to actually hear that could potentially going on in real life is crazy, man. A lot of this stuff is ego-driven. Ego. Like he's saying here, man, when a person has everything, that ego is huge. So now I'm sitting down with all of the people that you think are powerful. Everybody thinks are powerful, and I'm telling them, the person that everybody thinks is the most powerful person, I'm telling them that, hey, you work for me.
What else is the motive?
The ESG, how does that factor?
But the point is control, is what I'm saying. So the motive becomes control more than money. After you have all the money in the world, what's next?
Hey, man, y'all get at me in the comment section. Let me know what you've heard, what you think about this. This is wow, just to hear this, man. You hope you could go back to sleep and say like the Notorious B.I.G. song, man, it was all a dream. I swear, you just wish it was all a dream. Y'all stick around and stay tuned, man. Let me know what you're thinking. Until next one, I'm gone, man.